One of the problems that students have if a verb is followed by another verb is deciding whether to use the infinitive or the gerund. So that's whether to use the ing or the base form of the verb. Well, with some verbs, there's a difference between meaning. Some verbs, it's just incorrect to use the infinitive or incorrect to use the gerund. But with some verbs, and these are the difficult ones, there is a change in meaning. And so we're going to look at one of these today. We're going to look at a couple of these today. So just share my screen. I can share a screen. There we go. Yep. Okay. Now, don't forget to use the infinitive. Forget using the gerund incorrectly. Okay. Forget is one of the verbs that can be followed by another verb. Forget to buy bread. Forget buying bread mean two different things. Okay. So take this little bit of text to begin with. I remember studying for exams. I remember sitting at my desk when I was a student and making notes on what I was studying. I remember taking exams. I even remember sitting in the exam hall and watching the clock tick the last few seconds away before the end of the exam. So look, after each remember, we have ing, studying, sitting, making, and studying again, taking, sitting, watching. Okay, all of these are ing. Yeah, all of these are the gerund. And they mean that I am remembering something that happened in the past. Remember, and the infinitive, remember to study. If you have an exam soon, you must remember to study. Reading and taking notes is an important part of studying. Remember to study, to take notes, and to revise. To revise is to read through your notes and to remind yourself of what you've read. It is important to remember to revise. After each of these remembers, we have the infinitive to study. So remember to study, remember to study, remember to take note, remember to revise. There we go. So each of these remembers is followed by the infinitive and its recommendation, its advice, not about the past, but about the future. So back to the ing, the gerund form. It's exactly the same text. I remember studying for exams. And the infinitive, exactly the same text. The ing, the gerund, thinking about the past. The infinitive, thinking about the future. I remember studying for exams. About the past, it happened years ago. Remember to study, you must remember to study. It's advice about the future. Okay. So it's remember plus to plus the verb. So the to and the verb is the infinitive. It's used when talking about the future. For example, when giving advice about what should be done. So remember to study. For example, remember to buy bread. I say this as my girlfriend is leaving to go to the supermarket, or she says to me as I'm leaving to go to the supermarket, remember to buy bread. When you get to the supermarket, you're not at the supermarket yet. Remember to phone your mother, okay? Because your mother loves you and she wants to hear from you. So when it comes to the right time, the right time of the week, the right time of the month, the right time of the day, how regularly you phone your mother, remember to phone your mother in the future, to buy bread in the future, to phone your mother in the future. Remember to walk the dog, because if you don't walk the dog, if you don't remember to walk the dog, then the dog will wee on the floor, and this is a bad thing, so you must remember to walk the dog. He hasn't been walked yet. And remember to use the infinitive with remember when telling people what not to forget. Remember to use. Every time you use remember to tell somebody what they should do, use the infinitive. Okay, on to the ing, remember studying. So it's remember plus the verb plus the ing, which is the gerund. It's used to talk not about the future, but about the past. I remember, for example, being young. I remember being young. I remember hearing this song for the first time. It's the past. I remember that I did hear it. I remember what I was doing when I heard it. I remember hearing this song for the first time. I will remember, although I'm talking about the future, I'm thinking back about what I remember in the past. I will remember learning the difference between using the infinitive and gerund with remember. Hopefully, I will remember learning the difference in the future. So forget is very similar to remember, except with an opposite meaning. So we can use forget with either the infinitive or the gerund in the same way as remember. So don't forget to buy bread, which is about the future, is the same as remember to buy bread, which is about the future. When you leave for the shop, your partner says, get bread. Yeah, remember to buy bread. Don't forget to buy bread. Or I forgot meeting Ralph. It means the same thing as I don't remember meeting Ralph. So it's a failure to remember an event from the past. So don't forget to buy bread. Remember to buy bread is about the future. I forgot meeting Ralph. I don't remember meeting Ralph is about the past. So the past with ing, do you remember studying this? The future, to buy, is used to talk about the future. Remember to buy bread. ing about the past, as I've said, infinitive about the future. There's a few more verbs that follow a similar pattern, okay, in that the meaning changes. So if we have stop, for example, I stopped buying a newspaper on the way to work. This means that I do not buy a newspaper on the way to work. I used to buy one, but now I don't. So I stopped buying, okay? It happened in the past, it doesn't happen now. The repeated act has stopped happening. Whereas I stopped to buy a newspaper on the way to work, I paused on my journey to work so that I could buy a newspaper. So I interrupted another action so that I could buy the newspaper, okay? So I stopped to buy a coffee. I stopped to talk to Mary on the way to work. It's the stopping of the journey to work. Whereas I stopped buying a newspaper, it's the stopping of the verb that immediately follows the stopping, the stopped, which is buy. The buying is the thing that stopped. Whereas here, what stopped is the being on the way to work. Another verb, phrasal verb, that has another pattern. He went on using plastic bags even though they were bad, is to continue to do something, which is often against the opposing force. So the opposing force there is him knowing he shouldn't use plastic bags, but he continued to use plastic bags. Okay, he went on using plastic bags. The activity continues into the future with the ing. Okay, whereas he went on to study in Paris, it's continue to do a different activity. So he was living in Miami. I don't know where he was living, somewhere, and then he went to school and he went on to study in Paris. There can be a connection between what went before, whatever that is, and in this case, to study in Paris. There can be a connection between them, but there doesn't have to be. Okay. So this is something that continued in their life. So another event, a new event in their life with the infinitive, to study. And this goer went on using with the gerund is a continuation of an identical activity, continuation of the same activity with ing. Well, thank you for watching this video to the very end, and I hope it's helped with learning the difference between remember to do and remember doing. Remember infinitive and remember ing, gerund. Well, remember to click on like and subscribe. Remember to click, and then afterwards you can remember clicking, and that will be such a happy memory, I hope. Bye for now, and I'll see you soon.